My name is Sheila Spicer Batiste, and I am the treasurer for the Monrovia Duarte Black Alumni Association. I am so glad to be a part of this Black History Month Storytime brought to you by the Monrovia Public Library and the Monrovia Duarte Black Alumni Association. I am so glad because reading is so much fun, and thinking about and learning from the books that we read is so extra special. This year's national theme for Black History Month is Black Resistance. The 4 books that are being presented this month were chosen as each tells stories about that theme. The book that you're about to experience right now is called Freedom on the Menu, The Greensboro Sit-In. The book was written by Carol Boston Weatherford. Without telling you too much, it is about young people who challenged a store that was called Woolworths, who refused to serve them at their lunch counter. Can you imagine that? Did you know that there was a Woolworths store on Myrtle Avenue here in Monrovia back in the day? I'm not sure if anything like that happened at our Woolworths, but it's interesting that we actually had that store here, right? As you hear the story, pay close attention and think about this question. Is there such a thing as good trouble, sometimes called resistance, that can lead to positive change? Thank you again, Monrovia Public Library, especially you, Miss Annette. And readers, enjoy.
Freedom on the Menu, The Greensboro Sit-Ins. Written by Carol Boston Weatherford. Paintings by Jérôme Legarrigue. Just about every week, Mama and I went shopping downtown. I loved having her all to myself for the afternoon. Whenever it was hot or we got tired, we'd head over to the snack bar in the 5 and dime store. We'd stand as we sipped our Cokes because we weren't allowed to sit at the lunch counter. Once, I watched a girl swivel a stool as she spooned a banana split. In the empty seat beside her was a purse, almost exactly like mine.
"Can I have a banana split?"
I begged Mama. "Not here, Connie," said Mama. "I'll fix you one at home."
"Won't be the same,"
I grumbled. All over town, signs told Mama and me where we could and couldn't go. Signs on water fountains, swimming pools, movie theaters, even bathrooms. Everybody I knew obeyed the signs, except my great-aunt Gertie from New York. Once, when she visited us, she drank from a whites-only fountain and said real loud, "I've never heard of colored water. Have you, Connie?" Then she lifted me up so I could take a sip. I looked up from the fountain.
"Y'all know better than that,"
a man scolded. I started to say, "Sorry, mister," but Aunt Gertie just huffed. "I'm too old for silly rules." It was a real hot day, but the man walked away without taking a drink. There weren't any signs up in the 5 and dime, but we still knew how it was. Most people didn't expect change any time soon, but my daddy thought different.
"Dr. King's coming to town,"
he told us one morning.
"Who's sick?"
I asked.
"He's not that kind of Dr. Connie."
Daddy laughed.
"He's a minister who's working to make things better for us,"
said Daddy. "So we can go anywhere we please," said Mama.
"Like the lunch counter?"
I asked.
"Yep,"
said Daddy.
"and other places too."
Later that week, our whole family went to hear Dr. King preach at the college chapel. I didn't really understand all of his speech, but I liked his booming voice. It sounded as if he believed God was on our side. Every few minutes, Mama said, "Amen." And when Dr. King sat down, everyone stood and clapped for a long time. Soon after that, my brother and sister joined the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Everyone called it the NAACP. They let me tag along as they went door to door helping people to sign up to vote.
"I've never voted in my life,"
said a white-haired lady leaning on a cane.
"Will I get to vote for the president?" "Yes, ma'am," I said. "My brother wants to be president when he's all the way grown." "Well, tell him he's got my vote,"
she chuckled.
"and to hold on to those big dreams,"
she said, handing me her voter registration form.
"Yes, ma'am, I'll tell him,"
I promised, thinking about my own dreams too.
"Times are changing,"
she said, waving as I left. Then one day, Mama and I went shopping downtown. We stopped at the snack bar just like always. I tugged at Mama's sleeve.
"Look over at the lunch counter. We know those boys."
There sat 4 of Brother's friends from A&T College.
"Do they know they're in the wrong place?"
I whispered. Some rules have to be broken, Mama whispered back. I heard one of them order,
Coffee and a donut, please.
I'm sorry we can't serve your kind.
said the blonde-haired waitress, wringing her hands. The boys didn't budge.
Don't y'all understand English?
A kitchen worker asked.
Go on over to the snack bar.
She hissed.
Stop making trouble here.
The manager tapped his foot and jutted out his chin.
They can sit there forever for all I care.
He said, storming out of the store. An old white lady came up to the boys.
I'm so proud of you.
She said, clear as a bell so everyone could hear.
I wish someone had done this sooner.
The waitress kept wiping and re-wiping the counter and refilling salt and pepper shakers, sugar pourers, and napkin holders. Suddenly the manager came back with a tall policeman. Let's go, Connie, said Mama. The manager shooed us right out of the store and then put a closed sign in the window. I couldn't wait to tell Brother.
Why'd your friends do that?
I asked. If we can spend money at a store, said Brother, it's only fair that we should be able to eat at the store's lunch counter.
I guess so,
I said.
Think it'll work?
Sometimes it's important just to try,
said Daddy, rubbing his chin. The next day, Daddy showed me the newspaper. The headline said, Negro students stand up by sitting down.
They sat 4 hours,
said Daddy, peering over the newspaper.
I'd be too hungry to wait that long,
I said.
Connie, they didn't really want food,
said Daddy.
They wanted to be allowed to get it, same as if they were white, to be treated fairly.
By Friday, we heard on the news how hundreds more had joined the sit-ins.
The protests are growing,
I told Daddy. I'm joining the sit-ins, Brother said, bursting into the room.
And I'm going to picket downtown,
said Sister, tomorrow.
I want to go too,
I said.
I'm plenty big enough to hold a sign, and I know I can sit.
It's good that you want to help,
said Daddy.
But Connie, you're still too young for these things.
I never get to do anything important,
I pouted. You can help us make picket signs, said Sister. That's very important. The next morning, I handed Sister my little flag for her to carry. We'll tell you everything when we get home, Brother promised. Turns out I saw the protests on TV. Hundreds of people walking up and down the sidewalks in front of the stores, restaurants, and movie theaters. I saw my own sister carrying a picket sign, and there was the back of Brother's head at the lunch counter. My own brother.
I'm just so proud of them,
said Daddy.
Me too,
I said. I just pray there's no trouble, Mama fretted. After a while, I watched the news on TV almost as much as Mama and Daddy. One night, I saw a report on the sit-ins.
That doesn't look like downtown,
I said.
Connie, the sit-ins have spread all over the South,
said Daddy. Just then, the phone rang. I answered it.
Daddy, it's Sister. She got arrested at the lunch counter. She's in jail.
Sister, who always got A's in school, who hardly ever got in trouble, who was what Mom called mule stubborn. Daddy raced to the police station, but Sister wouldn't let him get her out of jail. He told me how the students kept chanting,
Jail, not bail. Jail, not bail.
We can't just leave Sister here with the bad guys,
I pleaded. She's made up her mind, Connie, said Mama, wiping a tear. She wants to stay with the other students. In a few days, Sister came home.
Promise me you'll stop picketing,
I begged. I can't do that, she said, hugging me tight. Now, instead of shopping downtown, we had to order from the Sears catalog. Mama and I leafed through the big, thick catalog together, and she even let me help pick things out. But we both knew it wasn't the same.
How long before the sit-ins are over, Mama?
I asked. Till folks get what they want, said Mama. That summer, Mama, Daddy, and I finally went downtown, and when we passed Woolworth's, I heard someone shout,
They're serving them!
Daddy stopped so fast that the brakes screeched, and Mama and I jolted forward. We parked and ran to the lunch counter. There sat the women who worked in the restaurant's kitchen. They were all dressed up fancy and eating egg salad. I can't even stand the smell of egg salad, but I stood and watched them eat every bite.
Looks pretty good,
I said. Daddy and I shared big grins. The next day, Brother, sister, and I made a special trip downtown. Brother wore a suit and tie. We girls wore hats and white gloves. At the lunch counter, I climbed up on a stool next to them.
We'll have 3 hot dogs, 3 french fries, 2 coffees, 1 Coke, and 1 banana split, please,
I told that blonde-haired waitress. Sister and brother sipped coffee, and I twisted on my stool while we waited for our meals. Our food soon arrived. As I ate, the waitress plopped an extra cherry on a mound of whipped cream. She still looked a little nervous, but she smiled at me. It was the best banana split I ever had.